Okay, good morning, everybody. I am calling to order the 8 a.m. Judicial and Public Safety Committee meeting on Tuesday, June 6th. Can I get a roll call?
Chair Evans.
Here.
Member Chaplin.
Here.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Dessart. Member Eckhoff. Member Gustin. Member Krajewski. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu. Member Zay.
Okay, thank you. Chair remarks. The only chair remark I have is that at our next JPS meeting, we are going to have a presentation from our state's attorney, Bob Berlin. So everybody be here for that. And with that, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the JPS meeting Tuesday, May 16th? Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Next, we will move on to procurement requisitions. Can I get a motion to approve JPSP 005423, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Justice Text Inc. for the purchase of audio-visual evidence management software licenses for the period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024 for the Public Defender's Office for the amount not to exceed $40,000. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Okay, the motion carries. Next, we'll move on to JPS. Can I get a motion to approve JPSP 005523, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Ray O'Haron Company, Inc. to provide firearm ammunition as needed for the period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024 for a contract total amount not to exceed $150,000. Okay, we got a motion and second. Okay, second from members A. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Okay, the motion carries. And next we go to, can I get a motion to approve JPSP 005623, approval for a contract purchase order issued to Diana Hightower for administrative services for the Family Violence Coordinating Council for the period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024 for the 18th Judicial Circuit Court for a contract total amount not to exceed $33,600. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Okay, the motion carries. Next, we'll move on to resolutions. Can I get a motion to approve FIR 014223, authorization to transfer $1.4 million in the budget to the county sheriff for fiscal year 2023? Oh yeah, okay, so can I get a motion to approve that? Okay, any discussion? Yes.
Just can we get a little more detail on this? I know that, you know, it's for medical expenses, but could we just get a little more detail? That's a large amount.
That button. Good morning, everybody. This is a combination of inmate medical for anything that exceeds what we can do with our nurses and staff inside the facility. So anything to CDH, anything off-site, as well as pharmaceuticals. So last year, when we did the budget, we actually put half of our pharmaceuticals in contingencies, knowing full well that we were probably going to exceed this. We have quite a few correctional center detainees who have very high charges, high-class felonies, with a lot of health concerns, and we simply have to provide that care. Basically what we're trying to do right now with both of these transfers today, we don't want to get in a situation where we run negative on any line. So we're trying to make sure all of our lines stay positive, so we don't have to come back here in front of you and go, we're sorry, we're negative, we made a mistake.
Right, yeah, I know there were, I think at least two, I remember hearing two inmates that had some serious health concerns. So.
That number is actually exponentially higher now, and obviously because of HIPAA, we can't go into what that is, but we also have a couple of pregnant detainees. There's a lot of things just stacking up.
Okay, thanks so much, appreciate it.
Member Yu?
So $1.4 million seems like an awful large amount. I was going back through our prior budget transfers for this committee, and I noticed that back in February 7, for medical services, we transferred $226,000. And also that same day, we also transferred $360,000 into vaccines and medicines. So I'm just wondering, if that is what we paid before, we transferred that money, why is it that it's now 1.4 million for additional?
It's a combination of both the services that we have to provide, hospitalizations. We had one particular inmate who came in and went into labor. We had to pay for a C-section and delivery. There's no way that we can say, yes, we're going to have X amount of dollars that we have to spend on medication, X amount of dollars that we're going to have to spend on any kind of treatment that our staff can't provide. So we put money in contingencies. We worked with Jeff, we worked with Jennifer, we worked with Nick, said, we know we're probably going to be far exceed this. And as it comes, we come back and ask for more. So this was all planned in place in case this were to happen.
Thank you. Member Krajewski.
Thank you. When you say we have a contingency, we're talking the county's general fund contingencies.
Correct. When we did our budget last year, for example, our initial request for the budget last year on pharmaceuticals was 900,000, and that was based on what we spent in FY22, and we only put 450 in.
So you're working with finance, and actually it's
on everything.
It's us and the finance. It's a general fund that's telling you we're only going to give you a little bit, but you're going to come back to us when you exceed it.
Correct.
So I mean, we're the ones forcing you back here. We could have given more money. I see Jason nodding. We could have put more money in to begin with. But we just, to be safe, we're just saying, okay, we're going to give you this. You're going to have to spend whatever you're going to spend. Whatever the medical is, we got to pay for it.
Correct. So by way of history for the board members who don't know, prior to this year, we did not budget on the sheriff's internal budget for inmate medical. That was always a finance. That was something that was pushed back to us. We don't ever even see the bills. If we send somebody to CDH, they come over to you. We don't even see those.
Correct. Yeah. And this is something we implemented. We knew you're going to be in front of us every time you came up there. But instead of overfunding you, our staff has been, and the finance department wants to put it in the contingencies and then have you come to us when you run out.
Correct. And like I said, working with finance, we're trying to be good barristers of your money, and we don't want to be negative. We don't want to be in that situation.
Sure.
Up here.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Chief.
Member Ozog.
Thank you. And stop me if I'm getting too far in the weeds, but I'm curious, when you talk about a C-section, would Medicaid or state coverage come into play here, or is it totally the responsibility of?
We haven't done any, we don't, like I said, we don't see those bills,
Yeah.
But my understanding is that's all at Medicare, Medicaid costs that they bill to the county. But that would be something that Jeff or Jennifer would have to speak to. We don't see those bills.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, can I ask?
Member.
Thanks. Just for clarification. So is the county responsible for all inmates' medical bills?
Yes.
So if somebody has a C-section, it's the county that pays for it, not
Correct.
not that individual, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
If they are in our custody, everything that they need statutorily is on us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I have my own question. So I understand that anybody in the jail is a ward of the state and may not then qualify for Medicaid. Is that?
My understanding is they're billed at those rates. That's what the hospital bills the county at. But,
Okay.
But essentially, yes, if they need a Tylenol, we have to pay for it.
Sure. Okay, Member Zay.
I think that's an agreement the county worked out with CDH to be billed those rates
Oh, okay,
on that. So
that's good.
over the years.
Oh.
I do want to clarify one thing. Medicaid and Medicare do not actually pay for this. That's the rate we receive,
Right.
and that's what we pay. I just want to clarify that.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, so let's move on to, can I get a motion to approve FIR 014323, acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Family Violence Coordinating Council grant 2024 intergovernmental agreement number 322418 in the amount of $38,300. Any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor? Okay, that motion carries. We move on to budget transfers. Can I get a motion to approve item 23-1988, transfer of funds from regular salaries to employee medical and hospital insurance in the amount of $5,000 to cover the increased amount incurred for medical insurance costs, which have been greater than anticipated for fiscal year 2023. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, but motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve 23-1989, transfer of funds from regular salaries to overtime in the amount of $500,000 to cover overtime shortage in the correctional facility due to staff shortage? Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Okay, we have Member Dessart. Thank you. Yeah, $500,000 seems like a lot. So I know we've talked about this months ago, but I'm just wondering if we have an update on what we're doing to attract and retain employees so we don't have to pay overtime costs.
Sure. We go to every single recruitment fair that we can possibly go to. We're advertising everywhere that we can possibly advertise. Simply not getting recruits to come. This is an absolute challenge. We've upped our salaries. It's not enough. When we have municipalities in this county that are starting people at $15,000, $20,000 a year more, there's nothing we can do. And to be frank, that $500,000 is not even enough. We're going to be coming back in front of this board again later in the year. We did, again, working with Jeff and Jennifer and with finance, we put a lot of our salary money in contingencies. We're not even asking to go to that yet. This is currently an internal budget transfer, taking out of salary funds that we think we're going to have excess in law enforcement to try to cover some of the stuff in corrections. Because again, we want to stay ahead of this. We don't want to come over here negative and be pleading for money after the fact. So trying to be good barristers of our budget, we're looking internally for everything that we can.
And I appreciate that. So what can we do? If there's a challenge, there's got to be a solution. Like, should we look at the rates we pay our?
I think the challenge right now is that there's not a lot of people who are interested in law enforcement, and we're trying to get those people. We're trying to be as reflective of the community that we serve as we possibly can. We're traveling. We've been in Wisconsin at recruitment fairs. We've been in Chicago at recruitment fairs. We go to every college and university that we go to recruitment fairs. And my recruiters are telling me people don't come to the tables.
Okay.
We went to one recruitment fair from the FOP, hosted by the FOP. 4 people came to the table.
Wow. Are we going to colleges that have law enforcement
Like
programs?
I said, we're going to every college.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Member Chaplin. And then
yeah, thanks. I know we've had this conversation before, but it's not a problem unique to DuPage, because if you read about it, it's throughout the entire country that there's a police shortage. So, maybe down the road, I don't know, maybe law enforcement is going to have to look at a holistic approach or something, or change the way, because I know that, every police department and law enforcement agency is down. So it's a huge concern and issue throughout the country. So thank you.
Member Krajewski.
Yeah, this is happening all over DuPage County. I mean, most of the municipalities will put a list together and it lasts them for 2 years. They're scrapping lists in 6 months and starting another one. I mean, we used to have 400 people taking the test. They're having, because several of them are testing now. Darien, Oak Brook Terrace, Glendale Heights, Westmont, they're all testing. And they'll get 50, 60 people show up. Half don't pass the test. Another half don't even make it past the power test. And then they got to go in front of the commission for their interviews. And they're not even having any candidates left after the list. And they're all trying to steal from somebody else.
And by comparison, we run multiple tests. We run a corrections test and we run a law enforcement test. And the undersheriff would know. But I believe that we had 50 people show up at our corrections test. 50. And now we're even doing it online. You don't even have to come to the facility. It's an online test. 50 showed up.
Right. In the past, you probably had hundreds. And of those 50.
In the past, we had several hundred.
Yeah. And you have 50 and half of them don't pass the test. Then they got to go in front of the mayor commission and then they may not even pass the power test. And therefore, you're left with 2 or 3. And by the time you're ready to go, they've already hired them somewhere else.
Right.
And you got to start the list over again. That's a long process going through this.
Member Zay and then Member Gusta.
Thank you. What's the qualifications? We know we've got tons of high school graduates that have just graduated. I believe corrections. No?
I would have to again defer to the undersheriff, but I believe corrections is down to 15 hours and law enforcement still 30. 30. Not a high standard. It's 1 semester.
Okay. Thank you.
Member Guston.
Thank you. And I don't want to burn any of our members out, but having a budget that actually accommodates for the overtime, I think moving forward is going to be very, very important until society and the comments against officers changes in society. We're not going to probably see a lot of young people who want to get into that profession. So once society can start changing their tone towards our officers, I think then you'll have more people who want to apply and want to be a part, because being an officer has always been something of pride and it's always been something to serve and protect. So once society gets back into that vein, I anticipate we'll start seeing more and more people who want to serve and protect. Until then, we probably need to make sure we have that overtime budget available
We're going to need it
moving forward.
Yeah, we will be back in front of this board for overtime. It's certainly in the corrections. So.
Yeah, and I don't want to burn anybody out because then that happens also. So thank you.
Member Galassi and then Member Krajewski again.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just curious to kind of add to what Member Gustin just said. Is there anything that you feel we can do as a board or the community could do to help to help change the attitude of whether or not, students, whether they're graduating from high school or college, would want to enter the profession?
I would probably defer to Member Gustin's remarks on that.
Thank you.
Member Krajewski.
Well, since Member Zay brought it up, I'll bring it up again. I know the sheriff did go to the Merit Commission and asked to have the education waived for corrections and the road. And they reduced it some, but not what the sheriff wanted. So when you have towns like Darien, Glen Ellen, Bartlett, Oak Brook Terrace, Bloomingdale, I mean, I can go on and on, Westmont, they don't have that education requirement. So therefore they attract more people than we requested. Now, the chairman of the county board and this board are the ones that appointed the commission, the Merit Commission people who denied the sheriff's request to lower that so he could open up to have more. So when somebody's asking what can we do, I mean, we could eliminate that education requirement like many of the municipalities have done in DuPage County, and the sheriff asked for that, only got a partial. So where some people can't test for DuPage County, whether it's corrections or the road, they can go test in multiple municipalities within DuPage County. So when somebody's asking what can we do, I mean, we're the ones that appointed that Merit Commission. So.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, thank you. All right, let's, can I get a, all in favor of item 23? Okay, any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Okay, let's move on to grants. Can I get a motion to approve 23-1990 GPN 3023 Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Best Partnership Fiscal Year 2023 U.S. Department of Justice in the amount of $158,448. Let's see, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Any old business? Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At our last GPS meeting, we had a decrease in closeout. It was 23-1852 for Quicket Solutions for over $1 million from the circuit court clerk. And that's these people, I guess, that are code enforcement, iCloud, public safety, and the courts transfers. I haven't seen anything come forward with a new contract. So can someone let us know what they're going to do? Obviously, this is a big issue here.
I don't know that the circuit court clerk is on, but I was aware, at least how I was informed, that closeout of that one was their old software they were using, and they have migrated to a new software. Let me look into that, unless Wendy is somebody from the circuit court clerk on. If so, I'll defer to whomever is on.
Well, I mean, the rumor is that this new software, we're coding it ourselves.
That I don't know, sir.
So instead of using an outside firm, we're trying to make our own code, which would then have two different systems for local municipalities or they'd have to have two screens in their squad cars. So that's when I got the call. So
I'll gladly inquire. I will gladly inquire if they're not. Okay, I will inquire.
I'm here. And members, I'm happy to explain exactly what's going on. It's a little bit more in depth than they're going to have two screens in their car. That's not exactly how that works. So I don't know who you got the call from, but Quicket was somebody that we went out to bid with, and they were going to be the system that took over the e-citation for the county. Now, I'd say all that to say there are multiple e-citation vendors throughout DuPage County. So they are not the only e-citation vendor. So the idea that they're going to have multiple screens, if they're with a different e-citation vendor now, it works differently anyway. But Quicket was going to be the e-citation vendor for DuPage County. They didn't deliver a product that we were able to use. And so we are not using them. It didn't make sense. It wasn't financial or fiscally responsible to continue to walk down a path with Quicket.
Okay, so there's going to be another company coming forward?
The company that the e-citation vendor that we had while Quicket was working on developing a new one is still our e-citation vendor. It's called VP2. So we're staying with them right now.
Could you say who the vendor was?
And you guys approved that contract, by the way. You did approve the VP2 contract.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other new business? Oh, actually, that was old business. Okay, and for a new business, I'm going to have Jason come up here and explain something.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yesterday, we received a phone call from the State's Attorney's Office with a request. We were unable to get it on the agenda due to timing, but Bob Lyons is on the line. He's going to discuss with you. We're looking to hopefully get consensus today to bring it to County Board and Finance next week and discharge this item from JPS. So, Mr. Lyons, if you're online.
Excuse me, I am. Good morning. What we're seeking is we added an investigator position, which luckily we were able to fill to the State's Attorney's Office Criminal Investigations Unit. And requirement also is for them to have a car. And this is kind of a new process for us because usually we don't add new investigators. We just replace investigators and replace their cars. So right now we're working with fleet management, with finance, and a car dealer who basically, it's one selected by fleet management, but they said basically if we don't get a check to them on a certain date that they're going to put the car up for sale on their lot. Anyways, we're looking to figure out what the cost of that is to be, put it into the appropriate resolution, do the appropriate budget transfers to the appropriate line items so that we can purchase this vehicle and have it available when the investigator starts. And we're asking that JPS be discharged and it go right to Finance and the County Board next week if that's what's required and if we have all the paperwork and everything ready at the appropriate time.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that? Okay, can I get it? Should I get a consensus? Can I just? All right. Okay.
We'll work with the State's Attorney's Office to make that happen. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other new business? Okay, I've been informed that we are going to move into executive session. Actually, I think I need to get a motion to move into executive session pursuant to Open Meetings Act.
So moved.
5 ILCS 122C21. Discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under this act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.06. Can I get a roll call on that?
Member Evans, Chair Evans, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Member Chaplin.
Aye.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Guston. Member Krajewski. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Schwarzy.
Member Schwarzy.
Not Member Tornatori. Member Yu. Member Zay.
Okay. Okay. But do we need to have a roll call again?
Yeah, we should have a roll call again to establish.
Okay. Okay. Can we get a roll call to establish quorum again?
Hi, how are you?
Chair Evans.
Here.
Member Chaplin.
Here.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Guston. Member Krajewski. Member Ozog. Here. Member Schwarzy.
Here.
Member Tornatori.
Here.
Member Yu.
Here.
Member Zay.
Okay, can I get a motion to release the October 4th, 2022 to closed session minutes? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.